So what's it really like going from gloomy English weather to sunshine and Australian beaches? Well, I've lived both now, and there's some thoughts that I've got that you might not expect. Back in January, my partner and I decided that it was time for something new, it was time for something fresh, and we wanted to live an outdoor lifestyle that we just couldn't have in the UK. So we decided to pack our bags. We thought the Gold Coast was the ideal spot. This was off the back of us travelling Southeast Asia in March last year. We wanted more for ourselves, we wanted more for our life, and we wanted to learn a lot about the world and about ourselves. Not to mention the extra flexibility of me being a physiotherapist, my partner working in law. It made the move that little bit easier. If you're new here, my name's Dan. I'm a creator, I'm a physio, I live in the Gold Coast in Australia. I'm from Manchester in the UK. So let's jump into some of the biggest differences that I've noticed so far. Firstly, the weather and the nature. I haven't yet lived out all the seasons of the whole year in Australia, but I've been here for a few months to understand what summer feels like and what winter feels like. Winter over in the Gold Coast in Queensland is basically like the best days of summer in the UK. It's mostly dry, it's mostly sunny, and right now I'm sat in the car, it's nearly 10 o'clock and it's 24 degrees. We're not quite in winter yet, but this is like the starts of winter. Back home, you could usually expect rain, more rain, maybe a little bit of ice. It gets pretty cold, definitely below zero. And so far we've not experienced that here. Summer here is absolutely sweating hot. It's like over 30 degrees every day. It's a little bit wetter, it does rain, you get the odd storm, but then it brightens up pretty quickly afterwards. And again, this is just what I've experienced so far. Australians that live here or have lived here for a while might experience something different. The biggest difference for me, moving from non-coastal town in the UK to a coastal city in Australia, is the beach. We have probably in excess of 20 beaches within 30-minute drives, and the closest beach is about 10 minutes away. Before I moved, I knew I loved the beach, but I didn't realise how essential the beach would be for my mental health, for my sense of well-being, and for surfing. Let's move on to the people and the culture. Let's talk about the people first. So the people over here have this like really dry humour, and actually it works quite well with English humour. The one thing that I've noticed that Australians, or some Australians, don't really fully understand is when we are sarcastic. They sometimes miss the joke and they think we're being serious, and there's a couple of phrases as well that, you know, we say differently, but for the most part very similar people, very similar culture. However, everyone slows down. Over in the UK, the sense of being in the rat race is very profound. Everyone's rushing to do everything, everyone's in a rush to get places and a rush to live their life, whereas over here it seems a little bit more laid back and the people seem to just slow down. Everyone so far has been super friendly, very little hostility, which you would definitely get in a major city in the UK. The Australians especially have been very forthcoming and accepting of us being in their country, which I really appreciate, and we're doing everything we can to serve the people of Queensland, serve the people of Australia, and be an asset rather than a hindrance. So far the response that I've had both on YouTube and in person has been really, really good, and I muchly appreciate all of the Australians that have been so forthcoming. I understand it's difficult with a foreigner being in their country, but it doesn't feel like that. And actually, whenever I think about it and I think I'm actually a foreigner in a different country, it feels unusual because everyone is so friendly and speaks the same language and is very similar in terms of the type of people that it's hard sometimes to wrap my head around the fact that we're in a foreign country. Okay, let's move on to cost of living, because this is a question I get quite a lot. I think if you look at the cost of living compared to where I'm from, a small UK town, to the Gold Coast in Australia, I would say the cost of living is about the same overall. Groceries, maybe a little bit more expensive, but then it swings and roundabouts. Some things are really cheap, some things are more expensive that you wouldn't expect. Alcohol is a lot more expensive here. I'm not a big drinker, neither is my partner, so that's not really an issue for us. Fuel is about half the price. Over in the UK, when we left, it was about £1.70 a litre. Over here it's about $1.70 a litre, so the exchange rate means that it's roughly half. Rent is fairly expensive, however it probably is similar to that if you lived in an apartment in Manchester. It's about the same as if you live in an apartment in the Gold Coast. So overall, cost of living, I think, as an umbrella, is pretty similar. However, property prices are crazy in the Gold Coast. Really high. Let's go to work life. So I've spoken about this in a recent video. Work-life balance. There's a couple of ways to think about this. The first one is how much are you working and how much time are you having off. That I would say is the same. I'm working full time, Monday to Friday. I'm working roughly 8 hours a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less. So as far as the amount that I'm working, it's about the same. If you look at work-life balance in the sense of what am I doing on weekends, rather than staying indoors because it's raining and cold outside all through winter, I'm able to go to the beach, go for a surf, go on a hike, spend time outside and spend time enjoying the city and Australia, then if you look at that aspect of work-life balance, it is much better. I start a Monday feeling much more recovered because I've had a great weekend where I've been to the beach and I've been on walks through the park, I've been to the shop, I've gone and grabbed a coffee and had a nice little brunch down at the beach. Back in the UK, that might have looked like, oh, we'll go to the shops because it's raining, we won't buy anything because it's all too expensive, and then we'll go home and watch a film. The work-life balance is incredibly better here. I would also say my salary has increased. I'd say it was probably increased by about 60%, which is significant, and I can feel that as well. We've gone from living with parents back home, saving a little bit of money, to moving to the other side of the world, being completely self-sufficient, paying our own way, and also saving more money. So the salaries for a physio, at least, I'm a physio, are better, and actually my partner has experienced a similar thing. Final thing I want to discuss is creativity and lifestyle. To begin with, moving, it's a lot. I've been very time poor. There's a lot of things to worry about and to stress about, and still there is a few things to stress about, things like visas, things like work. I don't know about you, but for me at least, I can tell when my mental capacity and my mental strain has reduced and my mental capacity has increased, because I start listening to podcasts again. I don't tend to listen to podcasts if I'm mentally overwhelmed, because it overwhelms me a little bit more. However, recently I've started to listen to a lot of podcasts again, which is a really good sign. It's giving me the space to create videos, it's giving me the space to work on the marketing work that I'm working on, all while working a full-time job, enjoying the beach, going surfing, and I just feel like my overall creativity, this lifestyle lends itself to being creative. And you might not have seen it yet, but in the coming months there are some videos that I just simply wouldn't be able to create in the UK. Things like learning to surf, things like going to beaches, going on trips, which we've got some trips planned. So there's a lot of creative opportunity since moving to Australia that I just don't think I would have in the UK. The only downside I would say, and if you are a homeowner or you live without parents, is there is a big time burden of cleaning the apartment, of preparing meals every evening and cooking dinner every evening, just the household tasks, which I wouldn't say is attributed to Australia. I would just say that's attributed to me moving out of my home. There's a lot of things that you don't really realise that your parents do for you. It's not an issue, it just takes time. So that would probably be a bit of a downside. Some things that surprised me but also I handled well was the logistics involved with moving to Australia are probably bigger than you actually anticipate, and a lot of people get that wrong. When you watch videos, it seems very straightforward and easy, and I actually made a video of how to move to Australia as a physiotherapist if you want to go and watch that, and one of the responses in that video actually got me thinking. The video made it sound very easy to do, and actually you're taking on quite a lot. The logistics of moving are huge, and a lot of people don't really appreciate how much is involved in moving to another country. Moving out alone is a big job, but yeah, moving to another country, you've got visas, you've got registrations, you've got all the other things that you just don't think about. I also think I probably wouldn't have done this move on my own. I'm very fortunate in the sense that I have a loving partner that is my best friend, that's my fiance, and we can live this life together, and I think that's very much made Australia and our apartment and our lifestyle feel home. I think if I was on my own, I probably would feel quite lonely, and I don't know whether I would be open to doing this move alone, because I do miss my family. I miss my brother, I miss my parents, I miss my mates, I miss all my cousins. I'm very close to my family and I do speak to them often, which definitely helps. If I didn't have my fiance with me by my side, I don't know whether I would have managed a life change like this. So I suppose the question is, if I went back, would I move to Australia? Yes. Will I stay? I don't know. Probably not. If I were to go home, it would be purely due to family reasons, or I don't know, maybe I could get deported. I will say, as far as like visas and visas processes go, if you do have any questions around that, I'm probably not the person to speak to, because next week I actually have booked a meeting with a migration agent that's going to help us with our visas, because I really just don't understand the process enough and it's very complex. If you're thinking of moving from the UK to Australia, then pop some comments down below and let me know any questions that you've got, and also just tell me what your plans are. Are you coming to the Gold Coast? Are you coming to Queensland? Are you going somewhere else in Australia? I'd love to know your journey as well as you learning mine. If you want to go and watch my previous video of how to move to Australia as a physiotherapist, I have made a little package video. It's very brief. There is more to it, but you can ask me questions in the comments of it. I appreciate you sticking with me for this little chat in the car. I'm about to go and see a client. For now, my name's Dan. I'm a creator, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.